Hey, welcome everybody. This is John Paul Mendoza. And I'm the Dr. Steve Selling. This is Raging Verbalist number 169. This is a really special one, an exciting one, as you can tell by my background, and I'm excited about it. By the way, if you're just tuning in, thanks for showing up. If you've been a long time person, keep going. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe. If you want to be annoyed, hit the notification bell. And let's see, we're on YouTube. We're also on Facebook in the Position to Win book group. You can always ask good questions. And with me as always, almost always, mostly always, I think almost always, close enough. And this is one of those days where we are just pulling it together for everybody. Is the ever lovely Sandra. Sandra, welcome.
Hello, how are you? Are you excited today?
Excited. I was going to stop and get us cupcakes and virtual cupcakes and all of that stuff, but little cupcakes, that would be great. So feeling good. So let's dive right into it. I know we're always pressing for time, but today we're pressing for time. So
all right. Yeah. So, happy St. Patrick's Day. I'll throw that out there. Got some green on. But more importantly, happy third birthday or anniversary, whichever one you prefer, for your book. That's hard to believe it's been that long.
And it has been that long. So this is the third anniversary, and thank you. And it is very exciting, because here's the interesting thing, because I've talked to I have friends who are authors. I've talked to authors in various places, is that people end up getting a book written and it's like, whoo, I'm exhausted to get the book written, and they don't necessarily do anything with it. But I can't tell you, it took me 30 years to write the damn thing, and help from my co-conspirator, Gabe Batista. Got to do a shout out for Gabe. Would not have happened without him. Had a whole group of people behind us doing that. My wife doing editing and putting up with me being a real veritable pain, and Lynn being, a layout extraordinaire, and muse, and others who helped get this thing done. So, I'm very excited. Hard to believe that we're at 3 years, and it flew by. But every single, day, week, might as well tell everybody about it. They don't, I don't have, since the psychic hotline network went down, I've got to do all that myself.
All right. So share what it was like launching the book as the world was going into lockdown.
So we were writing the book in 2019 and working like crazy and saying, okay, because here's the reality. If you don't have deadlines in your life, this should help everybody out there. If you're ever thinking about, getting possessed and writing a book and getting one of these things out there, everybody can say, you know what, someday I'm going to write a book. Someday I'm going to do this. Well, you really have to get serious about it, because there's a lot of work that goes into it. So we wanted to get the book out in 2019 and decided, what would be the best way to do this would be to put it together and get a run at it and nail it down and lay it out, and then, go to Freedom Fest in Las Vegas, run around, because I had, met a whole bunch of these people over the, ensuing 4 or 5 years that I had been going, and kind of move this thing along. Wouldn't that be great? And that was like its own pain to do that. And what happened is that we got, and we chronicle it in the version of the book that's available right now. So when you get this book, because there was like a Rev 0, think of it like software, right? We had a beta version of the book. Well, we had to change the book, and we had to change the book for a very important reason, which is you always listen to market feedback and you see what people say about things. And what happened is that it changed the title, and it changed really the ordering of the title and the precedent. So back to, what are we going to do? We got to pick a date to do it. Can we get it done before Halloween? Well, no, we couldn't get done by Halloween. Can we get done by Thanksgiving? Well, Thanksgiving is usually not a time where people are sitting there going, pass the gravy and a book. It doesn't happen. So we thought, well, can we get it done in time for Christmas? Well, you have to have it done by Halloween if you're going to do it for, for Christmas. So then we start looking at holidays, looking at dates and looking at things. And we had really, pounded away at it, took some time off just because you get to that insanity point and said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get it out there. And what would be a perfect date? Well, looked at the calendar, not going to get it done in time for, Valentine's Day. Besides which, Valentine's Day is kind of a tough day to do this because, even though it's a red cover, it's got all these other kind of cool things. It's not like a lot of heavy duty romance. It isn't like, how to say the magic words and, parts start floating around. It's a business book. It's a life book. So looked at it and said, St. Patrick's Day, perfect, right? Because St. Patrick Day is important because I was raised a Catholic. My confirmation name is Patrick. I thought, this is great. What could go wrong? Wife and I go to Vegas for a week in January, and we're actually there for Chinese New Year. Whoo! Did I dodge a bullet there? Because the place was filled with people from China. And what I didn't know was that while we were in the process of ramping up to promote the book, and we did a lot of effort to do that, that March the 17th, 2020, turns out to be like one of the worst, you talk about timing, that's bad timing. So it was very tough. In fact, well over 150 different events around the U.S. got shut down because I was trying to get on speaking, get on stage, do the Zoom thing, do all that stuff. And all I can say is that, learned a valuable lesson, which is, if there's going to be a pandemic, a meteorite hitting from another planet, dinosaurs roaming the earth, maybe not a good time to launch a book. No, it had to get out there, so it did. So I always have that anniversary of when it happened and all that. So that's what happened with the lockdown, and it was definitely kind of a crazy time to do it.
All right. And what is the reaction of people when they find out you've written a book?
Well, people who knew me had a universal reaction, which was, what took you so long, with a certain level of profanity by their knowing me and their own style, saying, what was taking you so long? But what happened really is that as I found out what I knew was going to happen, which is that when you actually get a book written, when you get something out there, assuming it's not drivel or just, vapid nonsense, that you start getting positive responses. So the reaction has been very positive. And more importantly, is that it is a way to open the door to things. Now, I definitely understand that to make money selling books, you probably have to be in a different, genre. Porn would be a good one. How to lose weight would be a good one. Porn and losing weight is probably the best category, because what better thing to have than that? But actually, what it turns out is that the reactions have been very positive, and that was really, been exciting. I was really excited to have that happen.
All right. And what do you mean when you say it looks like a real book?
So when you're going to publish a book today, and according to one source, 130 million books have been published since humans started publishing books. I don't have a way to prove that. I didn't go out there and start counting. And, though if you ask people who know me and have been to my house or offices or wherever, I always have lots and lots of books. So I didn't go, 1, 2, 3, I didn't count them all up. But what I wanted to do is I didn't want to have a book, and this was just the reality of getting things done. I haven't had an agent. I don't know if she's still my agent or not. I like her a lot, but she said, well, you wrote a book, really would have had to do a book treatment, and then we could shop the book around. We could do this or do that. And I had made several failed attempts at writing a book, hired ghostwriters to do it, didn't sound like me. So what I really wanted to do, and I had this on my whiteboard, you should decide what you want to do. But I'm projecting out to you, is you want it to look like a real book. You want it to where people pick it up and it looks like, it feels like it has all of the right stuff to be a real book. And when I say it looks like a real book and it feels like a real book, it doesn't look like something that, was Amazon, tossed it up there, print on demand. I mean, I've purchased those things. And, the last thing I wanted to do was see the comments that said, needs an editor, didn't realize that English was their second language, on and on and on. So I really want it to look like a real book, made an effort, and that's the reason why I'm saying it right now. It is a real book. It was always intended to be a real book, and we'll see where it goes from here. But it is truly a real book, and it is not some, sales letter that somebody converted to a book. By the way, somebody told me to do that. I've written sales letters as long as 32 pages, and you can take 32 pages and add illustrations and easily get to 100 pages of, a small format book. And it's in it. This is a real book with real words, real things, and real stuff, which gets me to, now that it is the third anniversary, if you go to position2winbook.com, you can go pick up the book. You can say, John, the third anniversary of the book, say something cool, put your name in it and all that, and we will do that. You can also go to Amazon, you can go to Barnes & Noble, you can go to Books A Million, you can go to wherever books are sold, walk in and say, hey, I want to get this book. I'm this Mendoza guy, this Dr. Speed selling guy. I want to get me a book, and they'll go and get you a book. Or you can go get it digitally, of course, with Kindle and Nook and Apple iBooks. Then the importance of it, in my opinion, is that if you read the book, if you actually consume the book, what you will discover is that there's a lot of things that I've done in my life, and we have condensed them and put them there that I believe can help just about anybody. Also, if you go to the website and you say, John, I want one of those cool Raging Verbalist mugs, expertly designed by, of course, the one and only Sandra. And, everything tastes just a little bit better. The world gets a little bit brighter when you have a Raging Verbalist mug. And there we go. All right, Sandra, what do we have next?
All right. So the title has always been provocative. So can you describe the mistake that people make the first 5 minutes of starting a business?
So when we first did the book, if you look at it, we had come up with position to win. And position to win is the concept of where you are positioned in a marketplace or positioned in what you do, and therefore you can win. When we wrote the subtitles, the subtitle is most businesses fail in the first 5 minutes. Then we wanted to put a capper on it. It just takes 3 to 5 years to realize it. Well, it turned out that everyone that we showed the book to, and I mean everyone, looked at it and said, and they were fixated like magnets, pulled to most businesses fail in the first 5 minutes. And that became the driving factor. Now, I've had interviewers say, John, that sounds like a lot of hype. I've had people say, is this real or not? Here's the mistake. So I don't want to stop you from buying the book because there's more in it. But here's the mistake that people make in the first 5 minutes. You have a flash of brilliance, some cool idea. You see an opportunity. You see something you're going to do. And what they do is they go running down that metaphorical, proverbial road to build this business in your head. I mean, you're just, brain is on fire. You're going, 99 miles an hour, whatever that is in kilometers, which is a lot. And you're just going like crazy. But you never ask yourself, where is this business idea? Where is this business itself positioned? And positioning is absolutely critical because it's how you position the business. All those clever things are going to work for you. Write them down. Don't sit there and not do that, but never skip over that step, which is the mistake that people make. They go out there and they start doing this. They don't have a solid position. They don't know the marketplace. They don't even have a clue of it. Gabe and I were sitting with a client. We're doing an intervention. We do these. It's basically 2.5 days of fun and frivolity and pain and suffering. And the guy says, yeah, I was at a mastermind and everybody told me I've got $100 million business. And he was spending like he had a $100 million business, which he didn't. He had a $4 million business. And as we sat there and talked to him, I said, well, tell me where you fit. Draw out a positioning diagram. Now, for those of you who think this is hard, it's not. However, the hard part is thinking through and making sure you put things in the right order, the right prioritization. And as we were sitting there talking, the largest the largest company in the niche that he lives in is doing what? $100 million. So unless he's going to take all of their business and put them into the ash bin of the world, which they've been in business for like 45 years, owned by a big conglomerate, have mass distribution, likelihood it's not going to happen. That's a positioning mistake. And what it is that you will make wrong, bad decisions. So that's the biggest mistake people make, is they don't understand their positioning before they get started on that. And that's what I can tell you right now. So keep that in mind. Anytime you see any business, anytime you see any idea, anytime somebody pitches you anything, ask them a very simple question. Give me your position relative to whoever else is going to buy whatever they're going to buy, and why this is going to be a winning defensible position. All right, Sandra, I know we're tight on time. Give me the next one.
All right. So given all the circumstances of the launch, was all of that effort worth it?
Well, I can tell you at times you have self-doubt. Thing that really pushes it is somebody who contacts me, says, I read the book, I laughed, maybe I cried, but more importantly, as I made a business decision that worked for me, or I made a career decision that moved me along the path. And that means a lot, and that's really positive. And so I would have to say it is worth the effort, it was worth the effort, and the ongoing effort. And if you ever go out and write one of these things and you end up with this, first off, I would highly recommend that you go through the effort and energy and expense, because it's not like you're going to make a ton of money, but get a physical book, because this way you can just, bang, you've got this thing and you can always show it to people. Also, what it does is it tells people that you did accomplish something, and it says that you've accomplished something in your life. So the answer is, even though it has been painful process to get it done, worth it, absolutely worth it. And in some ways, you say, could I go do a do-over? Can I get it done 20 years earlier, 30 years earlier? Maybe. But the reality of it is it's done when it's done, and it gets done and it's out.
Right. And if there's just one thing a person should get from the book, what is that one thing?
Everyone has this sense that positioning is a fixed point, that when you have a position, that when a business, when a company has a very solid position, wherever that is, that position is essentially set in concrete. It's got a foundation. It's not going to go anywhere. I'm going to tell you that the biggest lesson that I think anyone can get, and it is proof positive of myself, is that we can always, all of us can do is not only have a position, but then pivot from that position and find a better position, find a stronger position, find a more defensible position, find a place that you're going to go. If I had stayed in the original gig that kind of got me out of this separation of what I was doing to where I wanted to kind of go, if I had stopped there and not gone out and pivoted, and we talk a lot about pivoting in the book, my own pivoting story, then I would have had an okay life, but not the life that I've lived today, not the life that I live every day and moving forward. So my belief is that the biggest thing you can get out of the book, other than not burning through 3 to 5 years before you run out of money and everybody else's money, but is to learn how to make sure that you pivot. Because in some ways, when I was sitting there in a room with Peter Drucker at a lecture, and Drucker said, you come up with a brilliant idea just in time for the market to tell you that you were wrong. And the real question is, do you get right with the market? My way of saying it, do you pivot to the correct and best use of your time or not? And to me, that is the thing that you can get out of the book, is to learn how to pivot and pivot successfully and change and alter your life.
And given what you've learned, is there an updated edition that is going to come out?
When you get through writing one of these things and you have this sense of elation, exhaustion, and sense that, how in the world did we pick that exact time because the lockdown took place? So there are many notes about what to do for a second edition. Gabe and I need to find some time to do it. In the meantime, we have gotten involved in several other business ventures because, again, we don't just sit there and write. We are involved in growing and building businesses. So is there a second edition? I'll tell you, there will be, because we have the notes. We have to pull it together and push that along, as well as other things that we may come out with. But yes, there will be a second edition, an updated edition. And now, as I said before, you have to pick a date out in the future. You have to nail that down and say, that's the deadline, and start working towards that. And we haven't selected that date, but we will, and then that will take place. I hope that you will enjoy this St. Patrick's Day as I do every St. Patrick's Day, which now has taken on significant or higher significance for me because it is the anniversary of when my book has come out. I also hope that what you'll do is you'll think about how you can improve your own life and understand that every time you look out at the world and you know how people have positioned their business or not positioned their business or their career or themselves, that those decisions determine the level of success and the amazing journey that they are on and where they will go. With that, this is John Paul Mendoza, Dr. Speed Selling, and for myself and the ever lovely Sandra, this has been the Raging Verbalist 169. Come back and see us every single week. And what we are attempting to always do is to give you something that's thought-provoking, a couple of laughs, and of course, try to change the trajectory of your thinking.